ladies and gentlemen, that I declare officially this workshop open.
Restore hope and reinforces national security through
operational efficiency, deepening public trust, and reshaping the national perception of our mandate. Public relations is not merely a function of our service, it is a central pillar in our transformation journey. The image of any institution is as important as the work it undertakes. Over the past few months, we have made deliberate efforts to strengthen our communication channels, expand engagement with stakeholders, and project the service in its rightful light. As a service committed to safe custody, humane treatment, and meaningful reformation of offenders. This workshop therefore provides a critical platform to sharpen our skills, align our strategies, and ensure uniformity in messaging across all commands. Since assumption of office, one of my foremost priorities has been to enhance the capacity of the public relations unit. We have increased support and financial allocations to the unit, provided modern communication tools, and intensified media engagement at both national and command levels. These steps were taken because I firmly believe that effective public relations is not optional. It is an essential driver of our legitimacy, operational transparency, and public confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to note that our efforts are yielding positive results. The service is experiencing more balanced and accurate representation in the media, and public understanding of our mandate continues to deepen. From highlighting our reforms to promptly addressing misconceptions and celebrating the hard work of our officers, the Public Relations Unit has demonstrated professionalism and creativity. I wish to commend the National PR and his team for exemplary leadership and proactive engagement. Their dedication speaks volumes, and the service is undeniably stronger because of your efforts and your team. To our command public relations officers, I extend my heartfelt appreciation. Your daily contributions in communicating our achievements, responding to crises and emergencies, strengthening community and stakeholder relations, and maintaining consistent media visibility have not gone unnoticed. You are the frontline ambassadors of this service. And the dignity, resilience, and professionalism with which you execute your responsibilities have been major contributors to the renewed public trust we enjoy today. Your work ensures that the narrative of the Nigerian Correctional Service is not defined solely by external perceptions, but reflects the truth of our mandate, our progress, and our reforms. This workshop would not have been possible without the invaluable support of our sponsors and partners, including PRAWA, International IDEA, the European Union, and members of the media. Their commitment to capacity building, innovation, and institutional strengthening is commendable and deeply appreciated. I also thank our facilitators for sharing their expertise, time, and energy to enrich this program. Their contributions will undoubtedly enhance the professionalism, strategic insight, and impact the public relations officers across the nation. As we embark on this 3-day journey of learning, of collaboration, and strategic thinking, I urge all participants to engage actively, share experiences, and take full advantage of the knowledge and insight that this workshop will offer. The success of this workshop will ultimately be measured by how effectively we implement the lessons learned in our day-to-day responsibilities across our respective commands. Let us approach this workshop not merely as an event, but as an opportunity to transform our professional practice, elevate our impact, and strengthen the reputation of the Nigerian Correctional Service. I also want to emphasize that public relations is more than just projecting a positive image. It is about cultivating trust through transparency, accountability, and consistency. It is about engaging stakeholders in ways that foster understanding and collaboration. It is about humanizing our work, highlighting the successes of our officers, and communicating the transformative impact of our correctional programs on the lives of inmates and society at large. Every press release, every social media post, and every public interaction shapes how the public perceives us and ultimately determines the level of support and confidence we enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, we must recognize that communication is strategic. It is not simply a tool for visibility. It is a mechanism for legitimacy. It is a bridge between the service and the communities we serve. It is a reinforcement of the values we uphold as a nation. The Nigerian Correctional Service is evolving, and it is incumbent upon each of you to ensure that the story of our progress, the story of our reformation, the story of our commitment to excellence is told with clarity, authenticity, and authority. In conclusion, let me reiterate my unwavering support for the public relations unit at every level. As Controller General, I will continue to provide the resources, the guidance, and institutional backing required for you to excel in your duties. Together, we will build a service that is more visible, more trusted, and more respected than ever before. I urge you to approach this workshop with dedication, with curiosity, and the spirit of collaboration. Your contributions here will define not only your professional growth, but also the perception and credibility of the Nigerian Correctional Service in the eyes of the public. Once again, I warmly welcome you all to this workshop. I wish you fruitful deliberations.
To take a group photograph.
Next is Mr. Mgbeke. Next is, thank you very much. Next is to take contribution in the reportage of the Nigerian Correctional Service activities. Please, a round of applause, please.
Why is this initiative important? And one thing that came to my mind is to actually remind us that there was actually a time when the Nigerian Correctional Service didn't have any public relation officer at all. And I recall very vividly that at that time there was a terrible conflict and tension between the media and the Correctional Service, then called the Nigerian Prison Service. What then happened because of that issue was there was a convening of the very first workshop between the journalists and the Nigerian Correctional Service. I recall that we had the one in the north and the one in the south. The one in the north held in Kaduna, while the one in the south held in Ibadan. You needed to see the tension, and the issue was that the correctional officers were saying, you journalists, you report falsehood, you lie, you threaten our jobs. Why should we talk with you? Why should we be in the same room with you? We're saying, you hoard information. We are paid to put the searchlight on anything because the general public wants to know. And when you cannot talk to us, whoever can talk to us, even if the person was adding salt and pepper and sugar, we take it. And it became clear that there was a need to ensure that there was support to the correctional service, but that need to be infused by people understanding the reality of the issue. Another point that was very clear, that correctional reforms and support was not attractive to politicians. So if you needed the politicians who were in the places of policy making and budgetary allocation, you need to utilize the journalists to make sure that they put the issues about corruption on the bottom line. So it was critical that two major things needed to happen. Number one, to increase the frequency of media reportage on correctional issues. Number two, to increase the quality of such reportage. It was against this background that two things happened. One was the then Controller General agreed to have a cohort of journalists who would be given ID cards, who would be trained, but that the publications of these journalists would need to be followed up, looked at, so that they should be recognized. It was supposed to be an annual recognition, so that you encourage these journalists to continue to do this, so that you also encourage their editor and their respective bosses in the various media houses to understand that it is indeed of critical national interest to ensure that people know the need to support this sector. What a lot of people don't understand is that the funding the correctional service is as well helping to build the security support for this society. And therefore, when we do not understand enough, when we do not provide the necessary financial backing for this sector, we are not only ensuring that the correctional service will not function well, but we are actually threatening the security of a nation. And that is the information and the truth that the journalists need to let Nigerians know. So it is against that background that the concept of PEMNET was born. And that PEMNET meant Penal Reform Media Network. And the Penal Reform Media Network, the very first phase, had 52 journalists from 51 media houses. Oh, I think he was part of the PEMNET. And what was happening was that every month there was a fact sheet that was developed, and this fact sheet was focusing on a particular media content, a particular issue, one issue. And that one issue must include certain levels of statistics because people need facts to believe the truth. And then these journalists, this fact sheet will be circulated to these journalists, and they will be expected to use it to inform either through any means they want, through the TV, and print, whatever. And we're supposed to track what they produce. I want to tell you that the very first phase showed us something. That was how we learned the lesson. That if you need policymakers to do the needful in terms of providing support to this sector, we need to partner with the media. And in partnering with them to provide those 2 points I mentioned, the frequency of reportage and the quality. That was how correctional service, then prison, became to be, people started talking about it. Because it was clear. As part of this initiative, we had trainings for journalists. As part of this initiative, for the first time, the journalists were taken into correctional centers, heard directly from the correctional officers what it looked like. Because, you know, when you haven't been to somewhere, you have certain kinds of imagery. But when they understood that the reason why the correctional officers were not speaking to them was not because necessarily they wanted to hold any information, but because it is a hierarchical structure. They can only speak when there is authorization for them to speak. Remember, during this period, there were no public relation officers. Then we went into a second phase of this project, and I want to thank Francis Inobere for that second phase, because this second phase was a phase that was dealing with public prison reform program.
Say the louder, amen. Please, let's have a seat. Thank you very much, the Controller General, sir. Deputy Controllers General of Corrections of our various commands, I want to welcome you to a 3-day workshop to introduce to you a leader, but the third substantive Controller General of Corrections, Sylvester Ndidi Wakuche, FRMI. Please welcome him. Controller General of Corrections is the Deputy Government. He is Olariwaju Amora. Please welcome him to the round of applause. We also have from the right-hand side of the DCG Health and Welfare, the DCG. Next is the Deputy Controller General of Corrections in the Directorate of Non-Custodial Services. He is. We also have here seated here our Associate Professor, a Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare. Sir, we also have in our midst, I know you don't joke with MNIs, but we are projecting the image of the service. And these are Army Public Relations. He is, she is ably represented here. FCT Command Public Relations Officer is DSC JT Aisha. This podium, the welcome address, and also